What comes to mind when you think about the word stewardship? Is it the 3 T's of time, talent, and treasure? Is it a memory of watching a parent or grandparent dropping their envelope in the offering plate each week? Maybe it's just a simple word like giving, generosity, or abundance. Whatever it is, hold on to that as you listen this morning. This year, Consecration Sunday is centered around the theme of make your move. When I say make your move, what I'm really saying is responding to what God is already calling you to do. I want you to take a look at this chart. Figure out what your weekly income is. Now, take a moment and figure out what your percentage of giving is. Since you have that figured out, I want you to take some time over the next couple weeks and consider what God is calling you to do as it relates to stewardship. What move is God asking you to make? Is God asking you to grow your giving by moving 1 step closer to a tithe? Or maybe this is the year you move 3 steps closer to a tithe. Remember, giving is not about a budget or a program. It is about a response to what God is calling us to do. It is an act of worship where people have an opportunity to share with the church what God has already entrusted us with. Now, let's look at what taking a next step really looks like. If you notice on this chart, you can see just how many giving units are in the church and how many are at each level. I want you to think back to where you were on the last chart. Now see what your next step might be. Once again, consider what God is calling you to do. This giving is in response to what God is already given to you. As you know, 2020 has not been the year we had hoped it would be in many respects. We've been clamoring for a sense of normalcy and community in the way we have traditionally had it. Now, I can't tell you that Consecration Sunday is going to be just like it's always been, but I can tell you there are going to be aspects that are familiar to you. We will have an opportunity to pledge a portion of what God has first given us as a part of worship on Sunday, October 11th. I'm excited to say that our guest preacher this year will be Bishop Timothy Smith of the North Carolina Synod. This is Bishop Tim's home congregation, where he spent many formative years as a child. Now, I'd like to close with a story about stewardship that I hope will relate to many of you. If you don't know, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, which talked quite a bit about tithing and giving to the church. I remember seeing the offering plate come by every week, and every week my mom would pull out her envelope and hand it to me so I could place it in the plate. These were the first moments of stewardship in my life. I was taught to give each week. I never knew what the amount was, and really the amount wasn't the important part. The important part was the act of giving what God had first given our family. I hope many of you have a similar story of watching someone in your family give to the church. Now let's fast forward to being a parent in this day and age. Danielle and I are parents to both Moses and Olive, and we do the majority of our giving online, and so our children never see it. I know for us, when we were coming to worship in person, we had to think through what it looked like to give as a parent. Without realizing it, Moses and Olive had not seen us drop money into the offering plate. One day it dawned on us that if we didn't start doing that, how would they know they were supposed to do that in their life? So each week we would find cash and bring it with us and have them drop it in. I hope they look back on that one day and remember that we wanted them to know that giving from what God had first given us is so important. We need them to do that too. I challenge you to start to build that habit with an amount you are comfortable with. The important part is that you are giving and responding to what God is calling you to do. Build the habit, and you just might be surprised what giving does to your mind and spirit. Remember, as you consider what God is calling you to do, it is time to make your move.